Hello Tarot Rebels, my name is Michaela and I want to welcome you to today's Tarot Rebel video. Today we're going to discuss the latest tag that's been going around the Tarot tube. It's called the Hearth and Home decks, and it's been I think it's been going on for about 2-3 weeks now. It was created by Dawn Michelle at Boho Tarot, which I really like and admire and respect. You'll see the link in the original video in the description box down below. This is absolutely the perfect tag for autumn where I am. It's quite rainy today, quite poetic, I would say. So obviously seeing the video, I was inspired, but I wasn't in this mood until now. So I think why not do it today when it's raining. I have a cup of tea close to me and I have my trusty warm cozy decks to keep me company, obviously. So as I said, I will leave the link to the original video in the description box down below, as well as the prompts to check all of these decks as we move into the video. So I will pause for now, and you will go through each of the prompts one by one. I will leave the timestamps as well in the description box down below. So for the first prompt, we have the Hearth and Home deck, the deck that feels like coming home. It's probably expected to be this one, but it's the old trusty Centennial tarot deck for me. I like the warm, cozy, muted palette. I like the size of it. I like the way it shuffles. It has a bit of gloss, as you can see in the video, but it has kind of a vintage aspect to it. That's something that makes me not use it in the summertime when the weather is super hot. It's something I usually like to use during the winter time. It's mostly a clarifying deck for me, or a comparison deck for me, because I sometimes use it when I do walkthroughs of other decks. But it's obviously my first deck, so I will forever be connected to it. I know some people don't like the traditional colors. I know people have something against the ageism, ableism, heteronormativity depicted in the deck. I get that. I understand the concern and the validity of those concerns. It's just sometimes my personal preference is to go back to my roots and use this deck as that particular root. For the Gather Together section of the video, this is the deck that reminds you of family and friends. Obviously, there was no better deck than Oak, Ash, and Thorn. I've done a walkthrough of this deck. You can find it on my channel, but it's just because of seeing all these animals. Like, the suits are lovely, the drawings are so intricate. Like, you can look and see the details in every card, and the patience that was put into this effort, and the fact that also it's made in a very eco-friendly manner. It's something that drawn me to this deck. Obviously, because of the color palette, I don't use it as much outside of autumn, but it's such a cozy deck, and I think I received it very late last year, and this is why I always connect with it when the anniversary is, basically. And now, because I live somewhere that's not necessarily in a city, not necessarily super central, the weather is quite rainy. I see on my walks, I see foxes and squirrels and ravens and everything. It's such a nice deck to use, especially during this time of the year. So yeah, this is my Gather Together deck. I hope you like it. I hope you get it. I know they're getting ready to release the second deck. I think they're still working on the artwork, but this deck, by the way, is part of a trilogy. So next one will be, I think, Oak Ash and Embers, which is something with dragons, and I forgot the third installment of this, but hopefully I know they will repeat the same experience. Like, the quality of the deck is amazing. These are the backs, reversible-ish. If you look closely, you'll see that this a circle has the 4 elements basically. Anyway, it's a really nice cozy deck, especially built for autumn nights when all you want to do is burn a scented candle and have some tea. Well, I kind of sense a pattern here. For the Light Up Your Life, the deck that lights your way through the dark, is another animal deck. So this time we have the beautiful Anima Mundi Tarot, which is again an animal deck. I really enjoy working with this deck. It's so easy to read, so easy to connect to, so easy to appreciate in terms of artwork. It's very, how should I put it? It's fantastic without losing any grip on reality in a way. Like, this is one of the most beautiful 4 of Wands I've ever seen, and it's just a simple 4 sticks in the air with flowers, right? It's so simple, but it makes me feel so connected with nature. And as opposed to the Oak, Ash and Thorn, I can use this year round, so I have no problem using it regardless. Like, I think this is one of the most beautiful deck card I've seen. I think there's the Sun card is gorgeous in this one, and I usually don't like the Sun card. This Temperance card is amazing. See, this Sun card is absolutely gorgeous. It's one of my favorite decks to use year-round, but obviously right now, because of the color palette and because of the simplicity it represents, it always makes me find my way. If I'm in doubt, if I use this deck, sorry, it's just things are so much clearer. It just speaks to me. I'm sure other people feel the same way. And yes, it has a really interesting texture. I think it's a linen cardstock with golden gilded edges, so it might not be for everyone, but it certainly works for me. There's no autumn if we don't discuss the Hush Tarot, right? So this is the Rainy Days deck, the deck that you want to curl up with on a rainy day. It's such an amazing piece of work. Like, the backs are so vintage, like for some reason they kind of remind me of old circus posters, but then you have these colors, these details. Like, look at this Fool. Oh, I have this deck in order. I think I wanted to film something with it. So look at this Magician. It's the detail in this card is amazing. High Priestess, the Empress, everything is so I want to say wet in a way. Like, the blues are so cold and so they send shivers down my spine, and then we have this very warm tone, very autumnal. Everything screams autumn, everything screams coziness, candles, chocolate with marshmallows. Like, everything is so well done in this deck. It's unbelievable. Like, how can you not like these cards? Like, they're amazing. It's just, it always feels like a rainy autumn day whenever I use it. And granted, I'm never tempted to use it in the summer because of how it looks like, but the art is so incredibly vibrant, and especially for this time of the year, it wouldn't make sense not to use this now. So yeah, It's one of my favorite decks, especially for rainy days, because I think also because some of the imagery is very decayed, in a very broken style. Like everything seems to be breaking apart. Like this image, it feels like this horse is also disintegrating, but being built apart from other sources. Same with this one, like this Two of Swords it's such like this Three of Swords that I think it hangs on to the concept of pain and goes even a step further. So I think for any kind of sad readings, I wouldn't use this deck, because I get the impression it amplifies the sadness. But at the same time, because of the creativity in this deck, I think it will help the reader and the querent to connect to the imagery even more so than with the standard deck, let's say. The Harvest Night decks, the deck that evokes Harvest Night and Bonfire Nights. This is the Fairy Lights Tarot. It's a fairly new addition to my collection, but I think it represents the spirit of this prompt very, very well. It feels like I'm in a forest walking at night. Again, this deck is in order because I wanted to film something with it. It feels like I'm walking through a forest and I'm meeting these characters at night, and there's a light shining on them, allowing me to see them, not to see them, to perceive them as they are. So it's, look at this hermit and tell me you don't feel like you're walking through a dark forest at night. But then you have what do you call them, not bumblebees, the glowing in the dark tiny bugs that flicker. It's so amazingly well done, and the art is so evocative. Look at this tower. Like, look at these sorry, I'm just trying to focus on this. Look at all of these creatures running away from the tower when the light is falling, right? So it's such a amazingly well done tiny deck, because it's super tiny, and I just randomly found it on a forum and I was like, yeah, sure, let's get it, because it looks really, really nice. But then I kind of connected with it because in the splashes of color and in the splashes of light, I feel like I can see beyond it, beyond this Nine of Wands, right? It feels like it's a card filled with struggle, more than the usual card that's more than the usual Nine of Wands. I know it's a bit too early to say that you like a deck, you love a deck, but it kind of feels like it drowns out the noise, but at the same time amplifying the noise an image can make. Also, this deck has a really nice gimmick. Partly the reason I wanted it, and partly the reason I'm happy to have it, which I'm not going to disclose now. I will film it and show you to you on another with another occasion. But yes, I think this is the perfect bonfire deck or Harvest Night deck. For the Handmade with Love, the deck that feels like a handmade gift or something, I have two sister decks. I have the Ophidia Rosa Tarot and the Pythia Botanica Oracle deck. So they're created by the same creators, Leila and Olive. The reason why I like this deck, especially this one, the Ophidia Rosa Tarot, it's because I really love poetry. The deck itself is very minimalistic in presence. As you can see, it's like very it's botanical, it's of botanical inspiration. so therefore it's very, very simple. It doesn't necessarily, you can apply the tarot knowledge you have. I do enjoy working with it like that, but the way I enjoy working with it the most is pulling a card, and let's say the High Priestess, right? And I go to this, I don't know, cheat sheet, let's call it that, and I go to the Major Arcana and I read what the poem for the High Priestess is. So it's petals filled with water, cupping the dew, hold the power to tip and feed us the moon. So it brings into focus the connection with the moon for the card, and it also brings into focus that connection with the higher spirit, with the intuition, with allowing others to drink from your fountain of wisdom, right? And this is how I enjoy working with this deck. It's just incredibly wealthy in terms of finding a voice that's yours. And sometimes I read the prompt and then I write my own poems, because why not? Like, sorry for that, my camera stopped filming. But second part of the Handmade with Love decks, we have the Pythia Botanica Oracle, which is the sister deck of the Ophidia Rosa, as I mentioned before. So with this deck, it's easier to work with on an intuition kind of basis, because we have the plant and we have a keyword. So we have Influence and Indigo, Escape and Celandine, Tempt and Forget, and Belladonna, right? Some of them work on in a very traditional way, like if you know certain legends about certain plants, which I don't know all, obviously, this deck will be perfect for that. But if you don't, you can simply use the guidebook. One thing I don't like about this guidebook is the fact that it's not in any order. So the cards are not numbered, and the book is not in alphabetical order. But because I just saw this card, so you have Enchant and Jingfoi. So it says, Jingfoi is enchant, a call to live, undaunted by the potent charms inherent in your psyche. To bewitch another is as much an act of casting light as it is a reward to your own incandescence. Kindle your luster with their darkness, right? So this is a very interesting deck. It's a very reflective deck, and I use it when I need self-reflection more than anything. Just the same I use the Ophidia Rosa Tarot. For the thankful, grateful, blessed part of the video, this is a deck that you appreciate, that helps you appreciate good times. And what better deck to do that than the Dreaming Way Tarot. This is an amazing little deck, I will say. It's a deck I really love using. You can use it in any circumstance. Look at the colors. It's so autumnal because of the reds and the greens and the browns, but at the same time it's so well done. It's so joyful. It's so happy. It's playful. It's absolutely amazing. And I think maybe because it reminds me of the Little Prince Tarot, it has a similar palette. However, this is more childlike than the other one. So I think you've seen me use it before, and you know how much I love it. If I could change something about this deck, probably I would change the backs, not because I don't like them, but I know some people don't. So I would really appreciate if others would use it too. But other than that, I think it's an amazing, nifty, cheap very entry level because it's so easy to read. You don't need a massive guidebook. This one works just fine. You can find it anywhere. It's not out of print. You can find it on sale, you can find it secondhand, you can find it anywhere basically, so I wouldn't worry about this. Last but not least, the comfy and cozy deck that's always there for me. It's the beautiful Sasurei-Bito Tarot. And you know my story with this deck. It's playful, it's serious, it's my home deck basically. I think it will forever be my heart and soul deck because I feel so connected to this deck, and I think I wanted it for the longest of time, and when I actually decided to go for it and get it, I was so happy. I couldn't stop using it for a couple of weeks, and obviously this is my favorite Five of Wands. It's on a different level. The images are so safe. The colors are so safe. There's no gratuitous violence in it. Everything seems to have purpose. Everything seems to mean something behind the image, right? And it's just magical for me. It's one of my favorite decks, obviously, and I think you've seen me use it a couple of times. But yeah, this is my comfy and cozy deck. So I hope you enjoyed my ramble. I know it was a bit all over the place because some of the decks aren't necessarily associated with autumn, like the Sasurei-Bito Tarot, or the Dreaming Way Tarot, or the Ophidia Rosa Tarot, but this is how I connect with them, and I hope this was useful or fun or entertaining or educational for you. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below if you want. In the meantime, you can show support by liking, sharing, subscribing to my channel, leaving a comment, everything that works for you. I would really appreciate if that's what you want to do. And thank you so much for joining, and I do hope to see you in another video.